Hey everyone. Did you feel that? It seems like the entire financial world just tilted on its axis. Bitcoin just blasted through another price barrier
It's crazy.
to hit a new all-time high. We're talking serious momentum here, the kind that has everyone from seasoned investors to your tech-savvy neighbor buzzing.
Yeah, my brother called me about it this morning.
So on today's deep dive, we're going beyond the headlines to explore what's really fueling this Bitcoin surge. Is this just another specular bubble, or are we witnessing a fundamental shift in how we think about money? Joining me to unpack all of this is our resident expert who can help us make sense of the charts, the predictions, and what it all means for, you.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I'm ready to dive in. There's certainly a lot to unpack, especially with Bitcoin smashing past that $66,000 mark.
Right, $66,000. That number seems to be echoing across every financial news outlet. What's really fascinating to me is that this isn't just a random spike. It seems like Bitcoin keeps banging its head against this ceiling, right? What can you tell us about that?
You're right, it's not random at all. Think of it like this. Imagine a price ceiling, a level that Bitcoin has struggled to break through in the past. We call that a resistance level. Now, when the price finally smashes through that ceiling, like it just did, it sends a powerful signal to investors. It suggests the upward momentum is strong, and suddenly everyone wants a piece of the action.
And it's not just everyday investors, right? We're seeing major players like BlackRock and Fidelity stepping into the ring. These aren't your typical crypto enthusiasts. These are institutional giants, and they're pouring hundreds of millions into Bitcoin. What's going on there?
It's huge, and it speaks to a fundamental shift in how traditional finance is viewing Bitcoin. There are a few key factors at play. First, in a world grappling with inflation concerns, Bitcoin is increasingly being seen as a potential hedge, much like gold. It has a limited supply, only 21 million will ever exist, which, combined with rising demand, makes it an attractive option for investors looking to protect their wealth from a weakening dollar.
Okay, that makes sense, but it's digital.
Well,
It's not like you can hold it in your hand. Is that a concern for these institutions?
that's where companies like BNY Mellon come in.
BNY Mellon.
Yeah. This centuries-old banking giant, not exactly known for its tech agility, is building high-security vaults specifically for digital assets like Bitcoin.
Wow, BNY Mellon building crypto vaults. That says something.
It's a game changer because it addresses a major concern for institutional investors: security. They need robust, regulated solutions to safeguard their assets, and crypto custody provides just that.
So it sounds like this is about more than just making a quick buck. These institutional players are looking at the bigger picture. The future of finance, maybe?
Absolutely. They see the potential for Bitcoin to disrupt traditional systems, especially in a world that's increasingly digital and decentralized.
Okay, I'm starting to get the bigger picture here, but let's talk numbers for a second. All this institutional interest, this talk of disrupting finance, what does it actually mean for Bitcoin's price long term?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's where things get really interesting.
Ooh, interesting. Does this have something to do with those bold predictions we've been hearing about, you know, the ones that send chills down the spines of traditional bankers?
You're probably thinking of Plan B.
Plan B.
Yeah, a prominent Bitcoin analyst who's made quite a name for himself by accurately predicting Bitcoin's price movements.
Wait, he actually predicted the last cycle pretty accurately, didn't he? That's not just luck.
Not at all. His approach is rooted in analyzing Bitcoin's historical price data and understanding the underlying forces at play, mainly scarcity and adoption. He argues that Bitcoin's limited supply combined with growing demand will inevitably drive the price up.
And what's his prediction this time around? Don't hold back. Give it to me straight.
Well, brace yourself because his model suggests that Bitcoin's average price between 2024 and 2028 could reach $500,000.
$500,000. Okay, that's a lot of zeros. But he's talking about an average, right? What's the potential range?
His model shows a potential range from $250,000 to, wait for it, $1 million per Bitcoin.
$1 million. I mean, I knew these predictions were bold, but that's next level stuff. And you're
Yes.
telling me this is based on data, not just some gut feeling.
Exactly. It's about looking at historical patterns, understanding the underlying mechanics of Bitcoin's supply and demand, and factoring in the growing institutional adoption we're witnessing.
It's almost like everyone's looking at the same data,
Yeah.
seeing the same potential, and it's creating this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mhm.
Speaking of prophecies, isn't there a way to measure market sentiment, that feeling in the air?
You're thinking of the Fear and Greed Index, a tool that tracks market emotions based on factors like price volatility, social media trends, and even surveys.
Oh yes, the Fear and Greed Index. I've heard whispers of this in the financial underground. So what's it saying about Bitcoin right now? Is it all sunshine and rainbows?
Well, it's currently sitting at 61, which puts us squarely in greed territory.
Greed, huh? So everyone's feeling pretty bullish on Bitcoin right now.
It seems that way, and this collective sentiment can be a powerful driver of price action. When people see Bitcoin going up, they want in on the action further, pushing the price higher. It becomes this fascinating feedback loop of psychology and market mechanics.
Okay, so we've got data-driven predictions, institutional backing,
Yeah.
and all lot of greed driving the Bitcoin train forward. But let's be real for a second. Is $1 million Bitcoin really realistic? What could possibly derail this rocket ship?
Yeah.
$1 million for a single Bitcoin. It's a thought that makes you do a double take, right?
Right.
But as mind-blowing as that prediction is, I have to ask, what could throw a wrench into this Bitcoin machine?
That's the million-dollar question, and honestly, quite a few things. Predicting the future, especially with finance, is like, I don't know, trying to predict the weather. There are just too many variables.
So what are some of the storm clouds on the horizon? What should investors be keeping an eye on?
Volatility is the name of the game with Bitcoin. Remember those resistance levels we talked about? They work both ways. Just as breaking through a ceiling can signal a bull run, a sudden drop in price could trigger a wave of panic selling, sending the price tumbling.
It's that fear and greed dynamic we were talking about, just in reverse.
Exactly. And these swings can be driven by a whole host of factors, from unexpected news events to regulatory announcements.
Regulation. Feels like the elephant in the room. Everyone's thinking it. Governments around the world are still trying to figure out what to do with Bitcoin. Any hint of a crackdown, any whiff of uncertainty, and that could really spook investors.
Absolutely. Increased regulation is inevitable, and while some clarity could be beneficial in the long run, the short-term impacts is anyone's guess. It's something we'll be watching very closely.
So as we navigate this wild west of finance, what's the key takeaway for our listeners? Should we be rushing out to buy Bitcoin, or is it time to batten down the hatches?
It's not about making rash decisions based on predictions or headlines, right?
Uh-huh.
It's about understanding that we're witnessing a fundamental shift in how we think about money.
A financial revolution?
You could say that. Whether Bitcoin hits $1 million or not, the fact that major institutions are taking it seriously, building the infrastructure to support it, that's a signal we can't ignore.
It's like the ground is shifting beneath our feet.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that leave us?
It begs the question, what will your place be in this new world of money? Will you be a spectator, watching from the sidelines as this new financial system takes shape? Or will you choose to be an active participant?
That's quite a thought to leave us with. As we wrap up this deep dive, one thing is clear. The future of money is being written right now. And whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to explore the world of crypto, understanding Bitcoin is no longer optional. It's essential.
Couldn't agree more.
If you found this deep dive insightful, don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be exploring different facets of this financial revolution in future episodes. We'll delve into the technology behind Bitcoin, its potential impact on global trade, and even its environmental implications. So buckle up, because things are about to get even more interesting.